folks, and welcome to another episode of Real Amigos. I am one of your hosts, Chris, joined as always with Donnie and Phil.
Man.
We'll start with Donnie because Phil's eating. Donnie, what's
Graham
up,
crackers and milk, the best.
The best.
It's not milk. I don't have any milk. I only have this.
Hey, man, what's going on with you, Chris?
Phil's
drinking some LaCroix.
Right, we're sponsored by LaCroix for
Sponsored by the now bankrupt company LaCroix.
In the last week, since last week's episode, I think LaCroix sales have skyrocketed due to the appearance.
No doubt the popularity.
Yes, if you
what are you going to do
Google
if we get a phone call?
You will know that we help.
What are you going to do?
Say yes to whatever they ask.
If they're like, look, you guys drink LaCroix every episode,
yep,
we'll give you $10.
I will open LaCroix and pour it into the sink, and then I will fill it up with something else, and then I will hold it on the camera while we're recording and drink it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would.
We'll find you a flavor you like. Don't you worry.
That's right. We'll see. If this is your first time here, Real Amigos is a weekly podcast where a couple guys get together, a group of guys get together, talk about movies. And
when does it become a group? At what point? At what number?
I said
are you a group?
And a couple is only two, so I would say maybe a few. Would you say a few guys?
You could just say three.
You
could say three.
I think three is a group. Just three guys.
Three guys.
Just three guys. I could say that, but I didn't. So
to me, you become a group when there are four of you. That's how I feel.
So
when everybody has a buddy.
Yeah, you're like team. You can team up with somebody.
Well, guys, our podcast is not about buddies or groups or couples or fews, but it is about movies. And season 2 kicked off a couple weeks ago. We're talking about time travel movies, and we've also introduced a couple of other different types of shows. And that's what this is. This is another installment.
I'd like to amend your statement. We've talked about a time travel movie and The Flight of the Navigator.
And another movie. Hey, you guys, you listeners out there, you guys remember that movie that we talked about on the last episode? No, neither do we. Let's keep going.
It was the best, and I hate you. And this is about to be a one-man show. So the
great news is so bad it's trickling into 2 different episodes.
All right, listen, we talked almost an hour and a half about that movie. Let's let it slide. Okay.
In all fairness, it is our highest rated episode, though.
It is our highest. Yep, but I think that was all the LaCroix.
The LaCroix sponsorship.
Yeah, all the sponsorship.
Yeah, you're gonna die if somebody tweets hashtag LaCroix on our episode.
I can't finish any intro for anything with you dum-dums.
Okay. Guerrilla marketing.
So we'll talk about the great debate in a second. Before we do that, let's get some general chit-chat out of the way. I want to talk about this. Netflix, always be my maybe. Have you guys, I told you guys to watch the Keanu Reeves scene. Have either one of you guys done this?
I saw the scene where he walks into the restaurant.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, when he just walks in, did you watch the whole meal?
When they meet him, yeah. I saw that scene.
Meal.
When he eats the food?
I don't think I saw the eating of food.
Okay, so then you haven't. You need to watch the movie. Guys, listen. Always Be My Maybe is a Netflix original comedy about 2 Asian people that fall in love. There's both comedians. The one guy plays Louis Wong on Far From Home. I don't know their names, but none of that matters. What matters
Spider-Man
is
Far From Home?
in the middle of the movie, the girl, she dates Keanu Reeves, but it's just Keanu Reeves. He's playing himself, a character of himself.
I have a confession to make about this movie.
What?
Until 3 days ago, I thought it was called Always Be My Baby. Totally.
It's a play on words. Oh. See.
Yeah. Anyway, the Keanu Reeves scene is fantastic. He orders this cuisine. He's talking to all the people. He's very much like a
man of the people.
Yeah, but not even that. He's giving like these spiritual sayings and anecdotes and stuff to it, just really annoying the lead character. But their main course, they have a main course. I forget what they call it. I'll have to watch it again. But it's an audio meal, and so they bring.
Is it one of those weird people that's like making? I'm gonna cut your hair.
No, it's not like that.
Talking about.
Oh, come on! You don't know about that?
ARM.
What is it called?
ARM.
Yeah, Yeah. The people that make the weird noises in the microphone.
Yeah,
it's super crazy, but
stimulated by
sound. It's
sound.
Weird.
Are you telling me this is
this is a thing? Look it up. There's
erotic.
For some people, it might be, but it
Yeah.
certainly is creepy.
Sorry, that's weird.
Go ahead, Chris.
Anyway, so he's listening to headphones, and what you do is you listen to the sound of the animal that you're eating.
What?
That's awesome.
So Keanu Reeves is eating the steak, and he's just like, and all of a sudden he's like,
He starts crying.
That's awesome.
it's a
Do you
great
think he's just playing? Do you think he's just playing Keanu Reeves as he assumes everyone thinks he is?
Yes, that is what he's playing, and it is pitch perfect. It's so good. And so then they go back to the hotel and they have a game night, which Keanu Reeves comes up with this game, and it's you just got to watch it. It's great. The Keanu Reeves, I mean, the movie overall is fine. It's cute, but the Keanu Reeves scene is fantastic. Anyway,
Does it prove my theory true that all Netflix movies are just made for TV movies?
Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it also proves our other Netflix theory, which is that every Netflix original show has to have gay people. So we tick both of those boxes. So we're good. All right.
Remember that guy played Asian Jim.
Yep, on The Office.
Right, on The Office.
One of my favorite scenes ever. You're not Jim. You don't see color? Good for you, Dwight.
Doesn't he have a picture of himself on the desk?
They did it all. They changed the family picture.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
He had the voicemail code. He knew about the sales. And Dwight's like,
greatest show ever.
This dropped right since the last time we recorded, but so Netflix is losing the rights to The Office at the end of the year. So in 2020, NBC Universal is pulling them together to launch their own streaming service. Now look, I have no interest in paying for another streaming service, but I will say that if there was one show to get me to do that, it would probably be The Office. Greatest show of all time.
I think I might have to agree.
Yeah, it's
pretty fantastic.
God, so good. All right, that's enough about me.
How many seasons did they film The Office?
Huh?
9.
How many seasons? So
I think 9.
Do you think all 9 are that good, or are they good when Steve Carell leaves?
I think Carell was a huge part of it. Obviously,
Yeah. It definitely lacks when he's not there. There are some great episodes because the guy who plays Craig Ferguson. Who does he play? The warehouse guy?
Daryl.
Daryl. Yeah. He steps up and has some really great moments, and then you have James Spader come in. He's pretty funny. So I mean, there are definitely some highlights, but yeah,
it's like Barney leaving Andy Griffith's show. It's like it's still Andy Griffith's show, but
well, that's why I asked, because Parks and Rec isn't as many seasons.
Yeah,
but I think holds on longer.
Yeah, but see,
I think it's better character development.
Though I will say that when Chris Pratt got big, I think that the show suffered because I think Pratt was great, and then he exploded because of Marvel, and then I think he just kind of, was just played off.
Yeah.
And his character Andy Dwyer is great, but anyway. Anyway, that's enough. Just don't do that. All right. Do you guys have anything else to say before we jump in here? Anything you guys are doing?
Drink.
Yeah, that's what they
these crackers.
Yeah.
Chris is going to have to listen to this later.
Hold on, going to be like, and this is my favorite phone. Let me dial the number.
Phil, seriously, when you're done, YouTube, what do they call it? Say it again. ARM?
Now you're making me hang on.
Do
AMR. I think it's AMR, right?
It is AMR. Look up AMR like hair cutting.
No. I think it's crap.
Sorry, rabbit trail.
Wow.
No, you seriously, you need to look
this
up.
I'm going to fill this gap with a nice little plug for our sponsor, LaCroix. LaCroix is just your.
We could also be sued by LaCroix. Let's keep that in mind. Also,
we could. LaCroix is just the top-notch, naturally essenced sparkling water.
Naturally essenced.
I didn't know essenced was a verb.
I didn't either. Never heard of that. Did you figure it out, Chris?
No, the cherry lime flavor.
I don't know. All right. Well, he can look it up. Look up haircuts.
Anyway, Okay. Anything you guys got to say?
Spent way too much time pitching other things on YouTube when we want people to not be leaving right now
No, it's on
from
YouTube.
this
Oh
channel.
my gosh!
On Netflix.
Like
All
people
right.
are like, they told me to go look. No, stay here.
Don't leave here.
Stay here.
Made you all. Okay,
Come
here we
back
go.
later.
Don't worry about that. We'll find that later. You can search it yourself anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is called the Great Debate. We started this last month. We talked about what we thought the best movie was 2018. We're changing up a little bit, and what we decided to do is let one of the hosts come in with a proclamation, a fact, a statement that they hold to, and then we debate.
Maybe I don't hold to it, but I'm willing to take that stance.
That's right. So Phil drew the short straw this week, so we're going to start with him. So Phil's going to kind of give us the topic and explain where it comes from, and then we're just going to have a round table. Let's kind of get into it. Phil, it's all you, man. What's up?
All right, let's just say, as a matter of introduction to this, originally I wanted to propose the idea that a particular remake was better than the original. But because Donnie won't watch the remake, we can't have that discussion.
I will, if I get a chance to watch the movie, I will have that debate.
I will find it.
We'll hold on to it.
All right. Okay. Save it.
So, as a result, I decided after much stress and Chris bugging me that we should have this discussion. That the book is always better than the movie. I hold up Exhibit A. I think the book is better than the movie. I'll hold up my Exhibit A. Then you guys can counter if you so choose. You can be persuadable. I don't care. I'm just going to tell you my example.
All right.
Example A, Jurassic Park. Have either of you read the book?
I'm sure I have. I've read Michael Crichton's stuff.
All right. So Jurassic Park, the book, handles the characters much better. So primarily this, the grandpa is a total dirtbag.
Yes.
In the book, he willingly leaves his grandchildren to die. He meets his demise, if
That's
I remember
a bold
correctly.
move, Cotton.
Yeah. Well, it captures this idea that it really sells you on this. He's a capitalist. He is money, bottom line, save myself, watch my own back. And it changes the whole narrative. It makes it sort of makes you hate him instead of love him. And you kind of want to hate him because he has exacted this ill, and especially as you play out the movie franchise, right? You play out the movie franchise, and it's like he's bringing back. He's essentially going to contribute to the potential extinction
the new
of mankind.
prehistoric age, yeah.
Right. So
spoiler,
right? And so you want to hate. He's a villain, not a hero. But the movie presents him as sort of just a misguided.
Yeah, he's kind of just a doddering
dummy,
old fool,
this lovable old fool who brings velociraptors into the world.
Yeah.
Oops.
And so I feel like if we had seen that movie, it wouldn't have felt so much like a summer blockbuster, because I think that's what they really wanted Jurassic Park to be. But it would have been a better movie. It would have had a more horror element to it.
Yeah,
and I think
I agree with that.
So that's my exhibit.
Your exhibit.
So okay, so hang on. So you're putting you're stating your case on the fact that the characterization of one character is better. So that's why
it's just one character. I think. Well, okay. And then then I'll look at it from the literary side. Books always allow the fleshing out of characters in a far more robust way.
Absolutely, because they have more runway, like they do, right? I mean, but where books completely leave out is visualization. I mean, you know, Jurassic Park, as much as it's known for anything, it's known for that opening scene of the Brachiosaurus running through the open fields and the T-Rex attack, you know, on and the outhouse, and like these iconic moments that are seared into our brains because we never seen anything like that on the screen before. And a book just can't do that, right?
So you're saying that our imagination is only complemented by actually see, like you're telling me that actually seeing the thing that you've imagined is more fantastical than what I can imagine.
No, I'm not saying that. No, that's not my statement. But I just mean in this specific case, like I don't know. I would argue that seeing Jurassic Park is better than reading Jurassic Park.
Well, how do you guys feel about little slight rabbit trail? How do you guys feel about artistic license on a book, like when they make a movie?
I think you have to.
I agree. That's kind of where I'm going. You have to go that route,
unless you have something like Lord of the Rings, right? Which you get like ton of time on, and even there, Peter Jackson took some liberties, but you have over 3 hours for 3 movies. So I mean, you end up that whole thing ends up being almost 11 hours, the entire trilogy, and so you have like this time to let that kind of stuff breathe. But that's like a rare exception, right? So I think that in order to condense a book down to maybe 2.5 hours max, I feel like you have to let liberty go in, or it just wouldn't work.
I don't even mean like a shortening of the story, and obviously not including certain elements. I mean like what Phil's talking about, like maybe a changing of a whole
like character
or like a
or something like that.
I mean, I feel like let me come at it from like me being a pastor point of view. I pretty much say that I find out that they're making a movie about something from the Bible, like a Moses movie or a Pharaoh movie or Noah or whatever. My instant mentality is, oh, okay. Like, I mean,
this is not going to.
It's going to be completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
Am I okay with that? And I'm taking the spiritual element out of it. In my heart, I just go, you know what? They're just going to do what they're going to do, and it's not. It doesn't. I don't know. I see it as like two different things. I really do.
But you're also coming at, and I agree with you. We share the same profession, but you're coming at the Bible because that's not literary license. You wouldn't argue that the Bible is literature.
No, you're right. That's probably a bad example, but
so that would be like how much artistic license can I take in making a movie about George Washington, who was a real person? And I do struggle with that. Like anytime you watch a biopic. Anytime you watch a biopic and you're like, this isn't at all how you can't take one great example. Like, never mind the fact that Barnum like caged up those people and beat them with sticks. Let's turn him into like the champion of gay rights.
He's a glorious tap dancing, wonderful man.
Right. This guy he liberated all these freaks. No, he did not. He put them in cages and
I think Chris
capitalized on them.
All right, take the Bible out of it, because the Bible obviously would trump all that. But I think Chris went straight to probably the best example ever is Lord of the Rings, where you have, I mean, to the point where certain huge set pieces were not even in the right book. Like they weren't even in the whole Shalab thing was in Return of the King, and they put it in Two Towers, or vice versa. I can't remember. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, the fans, what do the fans do? The fans go crazy. Like, oh my God, you can't do that. You can't do that. But see, I don't see it that way. To me, I think I'm okay with the artistic license. And I just go, look, I'm going to have two totally different experiences. I'm going to read a book and my imagination is going to do this thing. But then when I go see the movie, I know it's not going to be like the book.
So you don't even treat so you just see
I don't
as inspirational.
I
you
just go in
care if it holds to that.
I don't. I really don't. Like, it might seem weird coming from me, but I just now there's some
too. Like, you don't just watch movies. Like, you actually read books.
I read books. I made a list of some books here that I was going to throw on the screen here that I've read the book and seen the movie.
Okay.
To test your hypothesis that books are always better than movies.
Then let's do that.
So hang on. So before we get into those, let me just say I think so. So my stance, and I'm prepared to be my mind to be changed, but my stance is that I almost never read the book first, because I think it ruins the experience for me.
Really?
And so I think that the movie should be viewed first and the book after. And so,
well, but there's a lot of books that were books long before a movie was envisioned.
If you don't have the choice, sure.
Right.
If you're, I
like a John Grisham novel or like
Jaws.
Jaws was a book by Peter Benchley long before a movie.
Yeah, like if a new book came out tomorrow,
long.
you're like, I really want to read this, and then 3 years later they make a movie. You obviously can't do that.
But you're saying when you found out they were making Lord of the Rings into a movie series, you didn't go read the books first.
So I will say that I tried to read the books first. And I went back and read them after watching the movie and actually enjoyed them.
Did you?
Yes. So
I read them before. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to read these, and it was laborious, man. It was
So I have to, for fear of undermining my own point, because I guess I did make the point of saying always.
I've changed my own mind,
and I shouldn't have said always. I should have said usually.
There you go. That's a better premise.
But I read Lord of the Rings, and I found them to be fine books, literature.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know how Peter Jackson read those books and made those movies.
Right. Agreed.
Sure.
He took his own imagination.
I mean,
with that.
The elves in the books are not these warrior kings that you see in the movie. In the books, they prance around and play flutes.
Yeah. They're weird looking.
The other part of that is like in the books, it takes them. It's like years to, and in the movie, like you feel like everywhere they go, they're running like as fast as they can.
Yeah,
like we gotta get there now.
Got a running time. What did you?
I love both though.
Before or after?
I made a point of reading each one before the movie. So
I did that. I did the same thing.
See, I think that's the problem. So
but it didn't make me enjoy the movies though.
I had already read them before that.
I didn't necessarily say that. I'm just saying that. So for me, because I did it the other way. Like what happened? And again, this may come back to just the type of learner you are, or whether you're a visual, type of learner, or how that plays out. But for me, I'm as I'm reading the book. After seeing the movie, I can picture, even if it's not the exact same characterization, even if the story changes, when they talk about being in the Shire, I instantly know what the Shire is. Now, I'm an imaginative person. I can imagine that, but having seen it, and for me, it's less about locations than it is about voice. Whenever I hear Bilbo, whenever I hear Frodo, when I'm reading that and I can identify that voice now with the character, completely transforms the way that I'm able to enjoy a book.
Don't you think C.S. Lewis, though, or I'm Tolkien, not Lewis, Tolkien, Lewis would be mad for other reasons about the adaptations of his books. Don't you think that Tolkien would be frustrated by that reality? That somebody took his character and encapsulated it in such a finite way?
I mean,
that now to you, Bilbo is.
I would think
Frodo
most authors would be bothered by that.
Yeah.
Unless they're writing for commercial purposes, which, for example, I would argue that J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter books to put on a screen. Like that, to me, it's like her motivation was, I'm going to create
I think film to make as much money as she could make.
Right. I'm going to create film characters that will translate well. And I mean, those are all just pretty much straight adaptations.
Do you think authors today can imagine a book any other way?
Yep. No, I don't. I think most of them.
Do you think the visual medium is so prevalent that now they automatically think, will this play on a screen?
Yes.
Particularly if it's a fantasy or action.
I really do. I think you nailed it. I think they absolutely feel that way. And I don't know how they couldn't. Like you said, it's too prevalent.
Yeah.
You get to the point now where a lot of them write their own screenplays for the movie.
Right.
Like Crichton was a director. Michael Crichton, who wrote, a ton of things that you would know. He directed some movies.
Did he direct Congo? Because that movie sucked.
I don't think he directed Congo, but that was a bad movie. But
a case where the book was better than the movie.
Let's actually get some examples and let's talk through.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, Donnie made a list of examples.
I look at these as two totally separate entities. I love reading. Okay. I do. I really enjoy reading. And I think I like Chris. I think like I have a good imagination. And I love watching movies. But I don't. Rarely do I watch a movie and go, man. It's
really?
like,
So you've never read a book and thought, I can't wait for this movie, and the movie comes out and you're like, that sucked.
I'm going to give you an example of when that happened. It's a weird one, but it's one I'll give you. Okay. All right. So Silence of the Lambs, Thomas Harris. I read those books before the movies came out.
Okay.
They were big selling books. Manhunter was the first one, and the books were outstanding. I mean, you're just like, you were sucked in. And then you guys, I'm sure, have seen Silence of the Lambs. It's an amazing Academy Award winning movie. It's a great movie. And it's like, I don't know that there was a whole lot of differences in them, but it's like, I wouldn't have cared. To me, it was just a whole different thing.
Them as different.
Yeah. Dan Brown movies like the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons and all that.
Have you read those?
I've read all of them.
The books are way better than the movies.
The books are definitely better than the movies there, for sure. The movies are
the Da Vinci
mediocre.
Code movie, it was like, how many times is this movie going to try to end?
Yeah, those movies are pretty mediocre.
Yeah, they could have been great. That's a great example. Like, I remember reading the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
I read the Da Vinci Code when it was all the hype was like,
right.
Da Vinci Code is heresy. And I was like, and I tell people all the time, I find Dan Brown to be not a person that I would promote.
Right.
But whose books are...
He's a people's writer, man. He sucks you in. Yeah.
Fun to read.
They're great. I mean, they're greatly entertaining. That's what they're for.
But the movies, I find them to be like, okay.
Yeah, very much. Tom Clancy stuff. I read all that stuff before it ever became movies. Hunt for Red October, Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, and all that. Those books are amazing. And those movies are totally different, but just as amazing. Enjoyed them tremendously.
Yeah.
Okay.
You brought up Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
Now, those books are, they're great. They're classics for a reason. The movies were, the first one was great.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the only one of those adaptations that was pretty good.
Yeah, and they went down downhill from there.
Then they went Kirk Cameron Left Behind.
That bad? Holy cow!
Well, maybe not that bad, but that seems to be the feeling. Is they just became increasingly less popular and increasingly less, good to watch.
Two, right?
No, there's three.
They
the
did,
Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the Magician,
Prince Caspian.
Prince Caspian. Yeah.
Netflix will pick that up though.
I don't have Netflix.
Like for a series?
Yeah, they're doing a Narnia series.
They can do all 7 of them. That'd be cool.
No, they're going to do a TV series, which means it's going to be a serial, which means it's just going to use the characters, and probably not even the characters. Will probably just use Narnia as a setting.
No. What I've read, I think they're just going to do like each season is going to be a book.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But that could be interesting because, and that Donnie, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that captures. So that's why I think books have the potential, not always, but obviously the potential to be really much better because you can flesh out parallel storylines in greater detail than you can do that in a movie.
Yep.
In a movie, you have to smash all the characters together, and like you can even do that on TV. If you have 26 episodes in a season on TV, then you don't always have to have all the characters in the same room together. You can flesh out storylines separate from one another. But in a movie, it's like I got 2 hours to make this happen, so I'm going to take all these people and I gotta push them together somehow, and we got to bring them back together somehow. Yeah. If they get separated.
Well, I think we all know that it goes without saying that as a people, as a culture, our attention span is almost nil now.
Yeah.
So a movie is feeding on that. Okay, I got you for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas a book is like Phil's saying, for that mind, it's like, yeah, let me relax with this thing. Let me see how the plot unfolds. This character who did this and that, and that's why I see them as two totally different in entertainments. I mean, it's like, anyway, John Grisham stuff. I read a lot of his stuff, whatever became movies like The Firm, and really that was the only good one I can think of. There was a couple decent ones, but those were generally not as good as The Client wasn't that good. The Runaway Jury, not that good. Pelican Brief, not good.
You know what was good?
Which one?
Oh man, Samuel Jackson.
What? Which one?
Shoot, why can't I think of the name of it?
A Time to Kill. Yeah, that was a good movie. Excellent. Yeah, good book, good movie. Yeah. To Kill a Mockingbird, a classic example. Great.
Never saw the movie.
Great.
Read the book.
Really? Oh, good grief.
But I've heard the movie's totally different than the book.
But it's great. It's a great movie. It's a highly watchable, entertaining movie. I mentioned the Harry Potter movies already. I mentioned Jaws. Here's my example, and I'm done. This is the one that probably bothered me the most. And by the way, Jaws is a totally different story. The book of Jaws. Oh yeah, Hooper dies in the book.
Does the shark have an inner dialogue with himself?
Yes, he's debating whether he should go vegan the entire book. He kills Hooper in the book. So
Hooper is
Dreyfus.
Yeah,
Richard Dreyfus. So I've read all the
again though. There's your. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's your example, right? In a book, you're not thinking about monetization.
Right.
You're thinking
you're not crowd pleasing.
Story.
People will buy a book even knowing that it's not going to be, the Hollywood ending.
Yeah. Right.
But when they go see a movie, they want the Hollywood ending.
Because they test market, they focus group.
Yeah.
They filter everything through a 3-act format. You know.
It's a reason it's called a crowd pleaser. That's why they call that. So the one that bothered me was I've read all of the Lee Child series of Jack Reacher. There's about probably 18. There's like 18 books.
6'5" and Tom Cruise
in the book. Yeah, I mean, and that's that's a key plot line of all the books. From the very first one is this guy's a monster. This guy's 6'5". He weighs about 260 pounds. He's pure muscle. He's a beast, and he just basically breaks people nonstop. Is what he does. And then when they announced they were making a movie a couple years ago, or 5 or 6 whatever years ago, I was like, oh yeah, this will be great. This will translate. I mean, these books were written for the screen probably as well. But then they were like, and Tom Cruise is going to play Jack Reacher. I'm like, Tom Cruise is a little person. Like, I mean, he's small of stature. How is he going to pull it off? And it really irritated me. But then I went to the movie and I watched. I was like, it's fine. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
I like it.
And it's like,
I like the first one. The second one's okay.
Dude, those books are great. I love those books. I eat those up. That's all I got, man. I think you have to say the book is sometimes better than the movie. That's how I would.
So I amended my own statement from always to usually.
You're already backing off of that.
And you're already saying, and you're taking it down another notch.
I'm saying sometimes.
I'll say here's what, and Chris, you haven't said much, so I'm sorry, but I'll say what inspired this thought at all was I read The Fault in Our Stars, which is.
I'm sorry.
No, dude, have you read it?
No, fam, no.
It was great. It was great. Like,
I've also not seen the movie,
but I haven't seen the movie, so that's what I'm. And so and here's why. I watched the trailer, and I thought, there's no way they were able to capture all the details. They certainly were able to capture the tragedy, and I won't tell you how the book ends, but there's no way they were able to capture. Do what?
They die. They have cancer. It's done.
Spoiler.
I'm not going to tell you how it ends. But there's details in the book that I just was like, there's no way they captured this well on screen.
Oh, you know what I forgot? Every Stephen King book is a terrible movie.
Yes. Yes.
There's like 2 or 3 decent ones out of like 50.
Okay. So now you just opened up a whole different can, Chris. To your point, you're talking about the visual imagination. But have you ever read a Stephen King book?
I've read a bunch of them.
What is Chris doing right now?
I haven't read a lot. I've read a couple of mostly short stories from King.
Have you ever read anything that in reading it scared the pants off of you?
Everything. All of it.
Yeah.
I don't just mean by Stephen King, by anyone.
I don't like scary stuff. I don't read a lot of scary stuff. But yeah,
That's my point.
What did you say?
Like, when a writer can put words on a page that give you nightmares,
Mm-hmm.
That's an accomplishment. Anybody can throw a bunch of blood on a screen.
Yeah.
Anybody can put scary makeup on a monster.
Yeah, but I mean, but the fact of the matter is that's not scary. Like, blood on a screen doesn't necessarily translate.
I think
According
Phil's
to you
making
guys
a point
in 1984, you thought when Johnny Depp got sucked into the bed and blood shot out of the thing, that was iconic horror movie moment.
That was.
It was.
It was great.
But like, I wasn't necessarily
Phil's chiming in.
scared. It was just whoa. No, okay. So let me clarify my statement. And I don't read a lot of books just because I hate them, but I do read a lot of graphic novels. And now that comic movies are becoming more prevalent.
Wait. Are becoming more prevalent,
or are
they're the
for like the
cultural
last
milieu.
Are the
15
only
years.
thing that's
Quote
making
Ben Wyatt,
money.
nerd
That's
culture
making
is the
money
cultural
at the box
zeitgeist.
office right now. But here's the caveat to that, though, right? Is that comics are also graphic novels are also a visual medium, and so. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. That's why I didn't really mention it much because whenever you're reading a book, I mean it's completely just words. My issue is that I have tried to read books before that I didn't really care for or whatever, but I found myself being able to identify with a voice that I hear in a movie more and be able to then go and read a book with that in my head. That's just the way that I process
saying
things.
Voice. Are you talking about like literally hearing the voice of an actor, and then you apply it to that character?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay, you're not just talking about the voice, like the nature of the character. You're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about
Elijah Wood.
Right,
Frodo.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
when I read Frodo,
sure.
it's his voice that I hear.
But it's not. But when I say it, I'm not saying just the audible sound that they make, but the actual like the way that Elijah Wood delivered the lines and kind of the snarks that he made. Like I see all of that, and as I'm reading this, I'm picturing it in my head to where when I tried to read it, before the movies came out, like it's just a garbled mess sometimes, and there's so many characters, and they get
lots of words,
just.
Garbled mess.
It is.
Let me define the word book.
There's just so much
collection of a lot of words.
Especially in Hobbit, whenever you get all of the dwarves show up at the house and they're saying all their names and they're all saying crap and doing crap, and you're like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like it just like that. That's just how my mind processes. So for me, I almost will never read a book first. Like if I have the choice. I will never say I want to read this before it comes out. What I tend to do is if I watch a movie that I really like and I know that it's based on a book, then I will go back and read the book.
Now let me say this. Oh, are you? I'm sorry.
No. That's it. That's
back in the 80s. Now, Philip probably won't remember this, but I was an avid reader. I read everything, and I would go and buy the books of movies, like based on the movie.
Sure.
A movie that wasn't a book before, but they made a book out of.
Sure.
And
sure.
I
don't know if they do that anymore as much as they used to.
I think they do, but I mean,
I had the big ones. I know Star Wars still does it.
I had boo-koodles of those books that I read like crazy. I mean, I read a ton of that stuff.
No, Chris, you're saying Donnie's saying like,
a movie came out like
pick a movie, Purple Rain.
Or Die. Die Hard.
Die Hard. Die Hard's
it was a
Die
book
Hard.
before. That's a bad example.
So Purple Rain.
Purple Rain
as a movie, and
they make a book out of it.
Capture some of that momentum. They would write a novel for it,
which is really dumb to go buy that because you just watched it.
They do like the novelization of The Last Jedi. Like you can buy that. It's a novelization.
Oh, okay.
Of that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's the word, novelization.
Novelization.
Yeah. So you're smarter than
the literary term.
Yeah, dropping bombs on.
But so to be, I mean, if we're being completely honest, really the only books that I tend to read are Star Wars books. And so like I read,
last book movie you read.
I read Tarkin, I read Aftermath, but again, these books I enjoyed. Yeah, there you go. See,
Are those the Zahn books?
This should have been your trilogy, man.
I know, man.
The Zahn,
the Empire. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good. But see, even those, Donnie, like imagine reading those, but not having Luke's voice, like not knowing.
I can deal with that. That doesn't bother me.
I can't, man. See, I can't. It just bothered me. And so then this will be the last thing that I say, and I'll let you guys finish. But see, so then to kind of Phil, to kind of go to what you're saying, if I was to read a book, just completely using my imagination, reading the book, and then I go see a movie, and it doesn't match up with the way that I think that it should have sounded or looked, like it completely takes me out of the movie.
But you don't feel that way in reverse.
No, not in reverse, because I use that as the template. So as I'm reading the book, I'm filling it in with what I know, because the book will always go deeper than the movie does. So it's almost like getting a taste of it, and then now diving deep into it.
You see the movie almost like Cliff Notes. It gives you a good gist. But if you want to go dive deeper, then you can read the.
Then I'll jump to the book, and I will always do it after the movie.
Speaking of diving and water, LaCroix, brought to you by LaCroix. I think it's a good discussion. I mean, I know this isn't like super animated type stuff, but I think it makes you think about how you look at art and entertainment. And in my brain, like I said earlier, my last word on this is basically, I see them totally different. I'm able to disconnect from what I've read or what I've seen and just dive into it in a whole different way. So
what's funny is we're all falling on completely different spectrums. Whereas Phil is prefer the book, Chris is prefer the movie, and Donnie they're both completely different. So
Donnie is like and we all just get along.
Yeah, it's not Donnie in real life. That's Donnie in the books, but it's not Donnie.
That's correct. It's not Donnie on the big screen.
Donnie, you should throw your hat in the ring for the Democratic,
candidate.
Everybody else has.
You might make.
I will say this: there was one book that I read. So when I read Donnie, you talking about Dan Brown, talking about the Da Vinci Code. When I read the Da Vinci Code, which was the first Dan Brown book I read the illustrated version. It wasn't like a.
No, I read that book. One. It had like drawn out
It would allow you to see
the code stuff.
Well, that too, but like if he talked about a painting, it had a picture of the painting.
Yeah, I read it too.
Look at that and go, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. I found that to be helpful.
Sure.
Because there's no way I could know.
Yeah, and because he's super detailed in like these little
every painting in
puzzles and maze mentality, and you're just like, oh man, it would help to see that.
Yeah, I would have no way of visualizing that because I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's a caveat to that. Sort of goes along with what you're saying, Chris. It's not necessarily the graphic novel, but it's sort of like I do need to see that picture. Can someone please? Because he's talking about art. But anyway, I just find that most of the time, more often than not, I can see Donnie's point. But if you're seeing the book, like if you're just treating the book as source material, like I have an idea, but I'm given total freedom and creative license. That's one way of viewing it. But it just sometimes there's movies that I was like, man, I wish they had included this part.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me when they don't, because it's usually something that I really liked. Something that obviously stood out to me.
Hollywood, man.
But so then to kind of piggyback on what I'm saying is, wouldn't you rather watch the movie and enjoy it for what it is, and then go read the book, having that addition and being like, oh man, I hate they didn't do that, but now I'm glad I get to experience it.
I'm gonna give you a real life example. Can I give you a real life example right now?
Yeah. Sure.
We have a dinner theater here in town called the Alhambra.
Love it.
They're doing Jekyll and Hyde in the fall, and I've got tickets to go see it.
Nice.
And right now in my room is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm reading the book because I know the story generally, but I've never read the book. Like I don't know the details, and I'm reading it so that when I go see the play, I can go, oh, okay, well, I see how it did that or that, but yet at the same time go, okay, this is their take on it, you know?
Yeah.
Did you choose this play because of this play, or did you just get
I picked it.
Big show.
I picked
it.
No,
it's been serious. I didn't know if you'd ever. Well, I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example where this actually sort of rubs differently, where somebody took a movie and the movie was served as the source material, and that is Newsies. Newsies was a movie that they wanted to bring to Broadway, and they totally reinvented the story to deliver it from a stage. Don't nod. It's fantastic. The stage version is way better than the movie.
My gosh, you love the movie. I can't imagine how much you love the
Well, I love my wife who loves the movie, and I like the movie a lot.
The movie's good.
We do, but like and you brought it up. So my wife she loves Newsies. And when I took her to see the Broadway show, what came to Dallas where we were at, she was like really frustrated because they changed some things because they had to iron out the story.
Yeah.
But after like 2 or 3 showings, she was like, yeah, it's better this way. It needs to be this way to tell the story. But she had a certain nostalgia to the movie.
And that's what it is.
That's probably what happens with books, right?
It's nostalgia. You nailed it. You like it a certain way and you don't want it to change.
And I think that may be the takeaway, right? Is that probably wherever you first experience the story is where you're going to be grounded at.
Probably, yes.
And I would be curious to see someone say, I watched the movie and I read the book and I liked the book better versus, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who did it in the reverse. If there's anybody out there, like share your comments, share your story, because Chris's point, I think is well made, is what is your first experience with this story?
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, let's put a pin in there.
Neither of you are convinced.
Out on
no.
Who wins?
Maybe.
Comments in the video. Who wins this discussion?
Yeah, this is the one of the great things about the great debate
section brought to you by LaCroix. Go ahead, Chris.
About this is it. No, it does. I mean, the great debate is designed to open up the conversation, and we want you guys to be a part of that as well. So we're going to leave this in the Facebook group and on our page. So we'd like to know what you think. If there's especially if there's a specific example that you're thinking about listening to this right now, being like, oh man, I read this and then I watched it and I hated it, or I watched this and I read it and I loved it. Wherever you fall, whatever camp you fall into, let us know. Leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear about it, talk about it with you, and
or tell us what you're reading.
Or tell us what you're reading.
Nobody reads anymore. It seems like
that is unfortunately true. I don't because I hate it. But that's enough. Listen, we are a weekly podcast. You can get us on your podcast service of choice or on YouTube every week. Typically around Tuesday. Sometimes when things happen, it doesn't always go up, but we try to get it up around Tuesday. But you'll get it as soon as we are ready for you to have it. But I think that's it. We hope you guys enjoyed. So for Donnie and for Phil, we're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.